This is English shorthand dictation number 66 and the dictation speed is 140 words per minute. Ready? Start. Honorable Chairman, Sir, Uttarakhand has 13 districts and most of the migrant returnees belong to the rural areas of the 10 hill districts of Uttarakhand. I would like to point out that Uttarakhand does not produce migrant laborers. Uttarakhand produces migrant workers who are employed throughout the country and abroad in hospitality sector or as drivers or as security guards or are engaged in small businesses. Majority of these people would be desirous of going back to their work areas after the improvement of pandemic scenario because of lack of medical infrastructure, lack of proper education and livelihood problem in their villages. It is estimated that only 30% of them would show inclination to stay back in the source state. Hence the solution should target this 30%, and this can also help in near future as far as reverse migration is concerned, because Uttarakhand, being a border state of China and Nepal, is strategically very important and cannot afford to have abandoned villages. Agriculture, horticulture and floriculture should be given prime importance in Uttarakhand. The average size of land holding in the state is 0.95 hectare against the national average of 1.57 hectare. There is a scheme of National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development which promotes the concept of producer organizations of their own. Small producers do not have the volume individually to get the benefit of economies of scale. Besides, in agricultural marketing, there is a long chain of intermediaries who very often work non-transparently, leading to the situation where the producer receives only a small part of the value that the ultimate consumer pays. Through aggregation, the primary producers can avail the benefit of economies of scale. Central government and state government should promote this scheme of National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development to the fullest possible extent, because herein lies the key for providing better livelihood opportunities to the agricultural landholding rural populace of Uttarakhand. State government and central government should concentrate on setting up public sector units in the processing sector if private sector investment is not forthcoming. This shall ensure ready-made market for vegetable and fruit producer organizations and individual growers. State government can think of determining minimum support price for different vegetables and fruits for the purchase to be used in public sector processing units. For a long period, Indian agriculture has been under the shackles of Inspector Raj. Central government on June 5, 2020 has promulgated 3 ordinances to free farmers from the obligation to sell their produce in designated mandis only, allowing corporate investment in contract farming and abrogating the limit of keeping stock of pulses, potato, onion, etc. These reforms were long pending and should be expeditiously implemented at the ground level to allow farmers to get remunerative price of their produce. Adventure tourism can also be aggressively developed in Uttarakhand. This may include trekking, paragliding, zip lining, canoeing and kayaking, cable car rides, bungee jumping, elephant safaris, camping and river rafting. This shall give extra fillip to employment opportunities. For all the construction activities of Uttarakhand, bricks are procured from outside the 10 hill districts of Uttarakhand. However, plenty of sand and gravel is available on the beds of rivers in Uttarakhand, which can be used by the inhabitants of Uttarakhand villages to make bricks. This is a huge opportunity for employment. The only thing required to be done is the framing and promulgation of rules by state government, empowering village panchayats to use local resources as per 73rd Constitutional Amendment. If the aforesaid suggestions are implemented meticulously, Uttarakhand shall soon occupy occupy the premier position amongst the states of India, and the migrants shall not think of going back to their previous destination of employment, and the future migration from the hill districts shall also come to a halt. India currently ranks as one of the top 5 most targeted nations by cyber criminals, and the ongoing pandemic has only exacerbated this challenge. This leaves over 500 million individuals extremely vulnerable to cyber attacks. As per a report, India currently has over 574 million internet users, and internet users in rural India have grown by 45%, which is significantly higher than the national average of 24% in 2019. Ensuring the cyber safety of Indian internet users should be of paramount importance. According to the data from the Telecom Ministry, India's internet consumption has surged during the lockdown. On one hand, we are witnessing India's rise as a major player in internet usage rates globally, while on the other hand, we remain vulnerable to cyber attacks across the internet value chain. Much of this stems from the fact that most Indian internet users are nascent users who lack the right tools and awareness to understand the myriad nature of invisible threats online. The lockdown has made cyber criminals more adventurous in their attempts to con people using extremely low-tech tools such as social engineering. While the internet is a great enabler, the anonymous nature of the same grants cyber criminals a cloak of invisibility. Given the fact that cyber threats are often passive in nature, unlike real-life threats, people tend to ignore the same. Last year, a popular web series, Jamtara, brought to light how educated individuals become victims of social engineering crimes being perpetrated from remote areas. This led to Jamtara being christened as the phishing capital of India. Although social engineering crimes are not new, they make it incomprehensible at times to differentiate between genuine and malicious intent in areas such as phone or net banking. With tools such as VoIP and number masking, it is impossible at times for most people to protect themselves from ways that cyber fraudsters have in their arsenal to dupe users. Much has been said and done about the need to advocate cyber safety awareness programs by private and public organizations globally, but the time to ramp up our effort to ensure the digital well-being of our internet users is the need of the hour now. Almost 50% of the Indian populace is below the age of 25, with a lot of them bereft of the right cyber safety measures and know-how. A younger populace is also a vulnerable segment which may turn out to be the Achilles heel in India's overall internet growth story. Here are 3 ways we must examine if we are to bridge the gaps in cyber safety awareness and create more cyber-aware individuals. As India's younger internet demographic dividend is and will continue to power India's internet consumption growth story, we must direct our efforts in educating kids and young adults across schools and colleges about the nuances of cyber safety. Owing to the pandemic, our education infrastructure has moved online overnight with little to no protocols in place which can ensure the cyber well-being of our kids. Advocating for cyber safety education to be mandated across educational institutes will require serious policy changes across educational authorities and significant investments. However, creating cyber-aware individuals, the ultimate benefits will outweigh the proposed costs. This will also address another challenge our nation is facing: improving the participation rate in science and technology career options. Owing to the sensitive nature of this topic, a curriculum will have to be developed which advocates for the responsible use of the internet not just by students but also by their parents. Currently, all sectors ranging from banking, e-commerce, government organizations are impacted by cyber attacks. However, owing to the silos that most of the industries operate in, prevents us from knowledge sharing about cyber safety and leading a concerted effort towards guarding our cyber presence. Industries need to realize that the problem is inextricably linked, and cyber attacks on one industry do have a domino effect on others as well. Let us take an example. Phishing attacks on a bank's customers not only impacts the banking industry but also the ecosystem they power, including digital payment platforms, NBFCs, online marketplaces, and companies who bank bank with them. Technology companies may have the latest fraud detection tools at their disposal, but such sophisticated tools remain privy to only a few companies who have the resources to build one. The need of the hour for institutions is to join forces and share the best practices. Social engineering can be defined as the use of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. We need to realize that the porous nature of the internet does not require the use of sophisticated tools to conduct cyber attacks.